Good morning, everyone. I hope you're well. Did you enjoy our BE assembly last week? I hope you had a nice BE day. Did you do anything special? If you did something special, why not write and tell us? Or think about the task that Mr. King gave you and find some facts about World War II or VE Day and send them in to us. This week's theme is about adversity. That's a hard word, isn't it? Adversity. It means a difficult or an unpleasant situation. Well, we're certainly living through that now, aren't we? But do you know, throughout history and today, there are people who faced very difficult challenges. And those people can be an inspiration to the rest of us and make us feel like, well, if they can do it, I think I can as well. We're going to tell you now about some of those inspirational figures. Hope you enjoy it. I'm going to tell you all about Helen Keller. She was born in 1887 and she was a groundbreaking advocate for the deaf and blind communities. When Helen was 1.5 years old, she became very sick. She had a high fever and a bad headache for several days. Helen survived, much to her parents' relief, but they soon realised that she had lost both her sight and her hearing. Helen tried to communicate with the people around her. She'd got special motions that would indicate that she wanted her mum and dad, but she'd often get frustrated. She realised that she was different, and it was extremely difficult to let others know what she wanted. She sometimes threw tantrums and she would be kicking and shouting and screaming. She became very difficult to manage. Soon Helen's parents realised that she needed some special help. So they went to the Special Institute in Boston, where they suggested a former student, Annie Sullivan. They got in touch with Annie Sullivan and she began to teach Helen words. She would press the letters of words into Helen's hands. For example, she put a doll into one of Helen's hands and then she'd spell out the word D-O. L, doll. She taught Helen a number of words and Helen would repeat those words back into Annie's hand. However, Helen still didn't realise that the hand signs had a meaning. Then one day, Annie took her out to a water pump. She pumped the water and the water splashed onto Helen's hands. Then Annie spelt out the word water into Helen's hands. She finally realised what Annie was doing. An entire new world opened up for Helen. She learned a number of new words that day, and in many ways it was one of the happiest of her life.
Yes. Oh, my dear.
Next, Annie taught Helen to read. Helen must have been very bright and Annie an amazing teacher because soon she was reading entire books in Braille. Braille's a special reading system where the letters are made out of little bumps on a page. Imagine trying to learn how to read if you can't see or hear. It's truly amazing what Helen and Annie were able to accomplish. At the age of 10, Helen could read and use a typewriter. Now she wanted to learn how to talk. Helen learned to talk from Sarah Fuller, a teacher for the deaf. By resting her hands onto Sarah's lips, she felt the vibrations and how the lips moved to make sounds. She started off learning a few letters and sounds. Then she advanced to words and finally sentences. Helen was so happy that she could finally say words. At 16 years old, Helen attended the Radcliffe College for Women in Massachusetts. Helen graduated from Radcliffe in 1904 with honours. During college, Helen began to write about her experiences of being deaf and blind. These articles were later published together in a book called The Story of My Life. A few years later, in 1908, she published another book called The World I Live In. As Helen grew older, she wanted to help other people like herself. She wanted to inspire them and give them hope. She joined the American Foundation for the Blind and travelled the country giving speeches and raising money for the foundation. Later, during World War II, she visited with wounded army soldiers, encouraging them not to give up. Helen spent much of her life working to raise money and awareness for people with disabilities, especially for deaf and for blind people. Helen became a symbol of courage in the face of adversity and accomplished many things during her lifetime.
Okay. If you were to ask almost any guitarist who was the greatest guitarist ever, undoubtedly one of the names that would crop up would be this man, Django Reinhardt. Django was born in 1910 in Belgium, but he was a gypsy and he spent most of his life living in a caravan in France. From when he was a young boy, Django learned how to play the banjo, and he used to go into the towns and the cities and sit on the street corners and play his banjo. When Django was 18, disaster happened. He'd been playing in a local town and he came back late one night. He went into his caravan carrying a candle, and unfortunately it set fire to some of the paper flowers that had filled the caravan. In a matter of seconds, the caravan burst into flames, trapping Django inside. Django was severely injured and it took him 18 months to recover. The fire was so bad that all of his tendons in his hand were severely damaged, and Django found he could only use his two fingers. That would have finished most musicians, but not Django. He spent many months trying to practice to get back to his skills, and he learned to play using just those two fingers. He went back to playing in the towns and the cities, astounding people with his skills. Most people didn't even notice that he could only use two fingers. Soon, a young musician, a violinist called Stefan Grappelli, came to see him, and together they decided to make a jazz band. They made the Hot Club of France, a quintet which had 3 guitars, 1 double bass and a violin. It became the most celebrated band in the whole of France, Europe, and in fact their fame spread all around the world. Lots and lots of world famous American jazz musicians came over to France, especially to visit Django and to play with him. During the war years, Django lived in France, and it was a very dangerous time, especially for gypsies. Django kept playing his music. While he wasn't playing, he was a member of the French resistance and actively engaged in fighting against the Germans. Although Django died in 1954, still many people love to listen to and play his music. It's known now as gypsy jazz, and it's becoming even more popular to this very day. And it's especially astounding when you think that Django overcame his adversity and managed to become the world's greatest guitarist using just 2 fingers, half the number of fingers that I can use.
Hello. When Miss Barrow told me we were talking about adversity, I was thinking, what can I talk about? Then I thought, let's talk about some of the challenges people might find in the classroom. I'm talking about some people who, through no fault of their own, find some aspects of learning difficult, and they may find school confusing due to learning difficulties. But I hope to show you in the next couple of minutes that with hard work, the right support, and what we call Hillstone learning powers, and other people call growth mindsets, you can overcome these challenges and even turn them to your advantage. They may have dyspraxia like Harry Potter actor Daniel Radcliffe. This means you might find it hard to coordinate your movements and find things like tying your shoelaces difficult. You might also find it hard to remember the sequence of events when getting dressed. Or ADHD, where amongst other things people find concentrating and focusing difficult. Does anybody know the name of the Olympic athlete with the most Olympic medals of all time? It's this person, swimmer Michael Phelps. He only started swimming as a way to deal with his ADHD and then became the most successful Olympic athlete of all time, winning 23 gold medals. Here's some pictures of other people that have been successful despite having the challenges of ADHD growing up. Autism affects people differently. It's different the way the brain processes and understands information. While one person with autism can struggle with loud noises, another may actually enjoy loud noises. But having a brain that works differently can also be a great strength. A person may have the ability to look at very fine detail, remember lots of facts, or recreate amazing works of art. People with autism are often very creative thinkers. TV presenter Chris Packham says he would never have made it as a naturalist without Asperger's, giving him the ability to recognise the slightest difference in lots of creatures. Dyslexia is also a learning condition that can cause real challenges for young and older learners. Some of the symptoms are here. You'd be surprised how many of your favourite celebrities have struggled with basic learning skills growing up. And yet, despite the frustration and self-doubt, they had the inner strength and the growth mindset to persevere, utilising their strengths to overcome that difficulty. Here's a short clip of famous faces that have overcome the challenges presented by having dyslexia, even turn it to their advantage. I wonder if you recognise anybody.
If you're dyslexic, it's kind of your superpower. It's like the way that you think.
Our brains, they're wired to, I think, process information differently.
It's just the way that you see the world.
I don't think people do think the way I think.
And we're curious, we're creative.
The way I see the world might be different from somebody else, but that's valid. In fact, it's vital.
The imagination, the storytelling, the communication, the empathy, all these positives.
We can simplify things. We see the big picture.
In a world which is pretty competitive, I think to be able to look at it differently is a huge advantage.
Dyslexic minds have exactly the skills we need for the workforce of tomorrow.
My spelling makes people laugh. It makes me laugh, actually. And my reading, if I'm sight reading, it's a complete joke.
Imagine a world where you've got, where you've got like a force of people who have this gift of dyslexia, educated in a way that supports them. It means anything's possible, It means anything is possible.
I hope you recognise these words. The sharpest words want to cut me down. I'm going to send a flood. I'm going to drown them out. I am brave. I am bruised. This is who I'm meant to be. This is me.
I am not a stranger to the dark. Hide away, they say, 'cause we don't want your broken parts. I learned to be ashamed of all my scars. Run away, they say, no one will love you as you are. But I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come, and I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, I make no apologies. This is me. But fire away, this today, I won't let this shit gonna send a flood, gonna drown him out. This is brave, this is bruised, this is who I'm meant to be, this is me.